when you're talking Greek to me right now.
Gamers know what I'm talking about.
Yes, they do.
Halo is, I think, based off of a game I never played.
Halo is based off of a true story from the future that hasn't happened yet. That's why you haven't heard of it.
Halo is very shooty.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fallingtower's Watch the First podcast, the podcast in which we watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to. Mike's demonstrating that we're going to have cool visual effects going on in the middle there. He's like, look at all this that's going on. As you guessed, today we're doing a review of Halo, first episode entitled Contact. This is on Paramount Plus. With us, as always, this is the guy that knows which sci-fi shows are based off true stories and which are sci-fi, which are sci non-fi, I guess. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg.
Science faction is what this one is. Yeah.
And my name's Ryan T. Husk, whatever, who cares? We are joined by Tamia Harper of the Syfy Sistas. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and I'm happy to be here. And I care, Ryan. I care very much.
Thank you. That's 2 out of 3 here today.
Yeah,
Mike.
I care a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't do. Maybe I don't care, but I'm interested.
Do you remember that song? We care a lot. Who was that? Was that like, who was it? Ugly Kid Joe? Who was that? Remember?
Yeah, maybe it could be.
I remember that song.
It could be that
90s Ugly Kid Joe. All right, I'm gonna check real quick. Today we're doing that review. Whatever. Remember,
Halo. Contact.
Yeah. If you, which one is it? Halo or Contact? Remember that movie Contact?
Both, yeah.
Oh, Contact. Yeah.
Michael, but if people want us to review a show, what should they do?
I think if it were me and I wanted us to review a show, I would go down to the comments section below. The live chat's okay, but that doesn't stay forever. What we want is the comments down below for you to say, WTF, whatever show, WTF, Scooby-Doo, WTF, Scooby-Doo, new Scooby-Doo, you
Heck
too?
no. By the way, I just looked it up and it was the other Ugly Kid Joe, and people are going to be very insulted by this, but Faith No More that did that song.
That's who it was. That's
I'm
right.
actually a little bit offended by
Yeah,
that.
I'm mad
really
that I
like
forgot
Faith
too.
No More.
Mr. Bungle himself, that is Faith No More. Anyway, some people know who Mr. Bungle is.
You want it all,
That's the
but
one.
you can't have it.
Oh, that's so good.
Thank you.
So here it is, guys. We're going to talk a lot about music today, but before
other people
we do
people should also like this video. Hit the thumbs up. There's only one thumbs up, but I'm putting 2 thumbs up anyway. But you hit the thumbs up button to like this video, and then subscribe, maybe.
No,
Sure,
maybe.
for sure. Definitely subscribe.
Just do
Well, you heard it from Tamia Harper herself of the
Absolutely.
Syfy Sistas.
So subscribe, y'all.
Yep. That's the new rule. Subscribe, y'all. All right. So here we go. We're going to play our very first game, and we put it at the front because it's my favorite. And then after that,
Then
whatever.
it's my favorite after that.
Yeah. So what we like to do, well, here's the key. Michael and I have known each other for so long. It's ridiculous. There are people in the army right now that were born after Michael and I met each other. That's how long we've known each other, if you can believe that. So we can pretty much predict if the other person liked it. Mike's gotten actually pretty good at predicting the sounds I make when watching shows. He's like, you were watching it and you're going like, And I'm like, shit, that's pretty good. I was making that sound. I really did do that. And Tamia's going to go on a little blind. We know each other kind of well. She knows Michael kind of well, but let's see what happens. So, Michael, I predict.
By the way, I need to say this for everybody that's expecting it.
Oh, dear.
That the name of this game that we like to play, this segment of our podcast, the name of this is Predicaments, because we put ourselves in a predicament with our predictions. Ryan?
So, Michael, I predict, I'm going to go out on a limb. Or as our friend Tim Springer would say, I'm going to go out on a stretch. Remember what was that? He said, go out on a stretch. I think it was in, anyway, we won't talk about that.
Anyway.
Short film. So let's see. You did not like this. I think you didn't hate it. However, I think you'll be more than happy to talk about why you didn't like this. You're going to be right around the 3 range, I think. Tamia,
okay.
I think, A, I'm guessing the sci-fi part of Syfy Sistas means that you like sci-fi. I'm going to put you at around a 6. I don't think it blew you away. I don't think the shoot 'em up stuff did much for you, but that's because you're not a 9-year-old boy playing a video game. Going like, oh, I got you. I killed you. You're dead.
Did you guys tell my mom?
Okay.
Okay.
So I think you're maybe around the 6 range. Michael, that's what I predict. What do you think?
Well, I think that Ryan did like the shoot 'em up stuff. And here's the sound that he made. Oh, yeah. That's the sound that Ryan was making when he was watching all the gun violence, the shooting, the aliens. Tamia, it's in the name, Syfy Sistas. You like sci-fi, but even though you did say at the beginning this was very shooty. So even though you may have not loved all the shootiness of this show, I think you were intrigued by the aliens. You're intrigued by the whole structure of the UNSC, and you're also intrigued by the kind of fantasy elements that are in there too with that artifact.
She's like, damn, you're making me like this more than I did. But what do you predict, Tamia?
My words exactly, Ryan. Okay, so you guys, here goes nothing. All right, so Ryan, you liked it, but it wasn't an overwhelming like. Ryan, you're going to come in around like a 7, I think. Michael, I'm going to say, contrary to popular opinion, that you actually liked it. But I'm going to think that you're not clicking your heels over it. So I'm going to say that you're coming in at like about a 5 on it.
Josh would have something to say about that.
On it.
Yeah, good song. I was just listening to that the other day, actually. Brought me back.
You know what? I got 4, so let's get keyed.
Well, I just want to make a quick takeaway that Tamia believes that my opinion is the popular opinion, everybody. So that was my takeaway there.
It's popular.
Well,
Roll
I
the
think
tape
that
back,
right
it's
now,
there.
everybody else should make their predictions in the live chat. And
Mhm.
while they do, I am going to buy them some time by utilizing the voice of the narrator.
Ooh.
Ready? Let me make my thing a little bigger so I can
Are
read it.
you ready?
Almost. Aliens threaten human existence in an epic 26th century showdown. This is a TV series based on the video game Halo. In this episode, in the year 2552, humans on the planet Madrigal fight for independence from Earth, but a fatal encounter with the alien Covenant complicates things. Master Chief John 117 and his super soldier Spartans join the fight.
See? So everybody at home, as Michael said, we hope you've made your predictions. You've gotten some hints from us, but hurry up and make those right now because you're about to find out whether we actually like these or not. Here it comes. Make your
In
predictions.
a game that we love to
Oh, dear.
call Expectations. We compare what we expected versus what we got. It's the expectations of what we got, of what we expected versus what we got, and both.
It just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Great.
I'm a modern day Shakespeare of the
You
future.
are my friend. You are my friend.
So Michael. So yeah, we're just going to compare and contrast what we expected versus what we got. Michael's going to start us off because he's the brave one. Michael, as you sip your beverage, before you watched this first episode of Halo on Paramount Plus, get Paramount Plus, everybody. entitled Contact. What did you expect, if anything?
Well, that's a good point because I didn't really expect anything. I have never played the game Halo. I know people go nuts for it. I do know that the main character is not named Halo, but rather Master Chief. And then this is John 117, Master Chief, whatever. So, and I had never heard of this show before we found it on Paramount Plus. And I'm like, hey, this show just came out. Maybe we should review this show. So yeah, I expected nothing, but I guess I expected shooting because I think I know that the game is like a first-person shooter game or something. So, or maybe it's like not necessarily a first-person shooter, but like a team combat or something. I don't know what it is, but there's shooting in it. So I expected some shooting.
See, he expected what Tamia got. Tamia, before you watched this first episode, what did you expect, if anything?
Well, I was familiar with the game. I'm not a gamer, but my partner is a gamer and he loves Halo. And so he was really stoked to watch this. And I had to watch it with him. And I had to keep telling him, shut up, stop trying to tell me stuff.
Explaining.
I just wanted to watch it. Like, I just wanted the story to be, everything to be brand new to me so that I could just judge it on its merits as a TV show and not something that I was expecting from the game. So, I mean, my own expectations, I really had very little, but I was watching it with somebody who had really high expectations and cued me into, like, you know, the things that were important in the world of Halo by his, ooh, you know, the whole time.
Wow. We'll have to get more on that.
I've got some questions about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of answers, don't I?
Well, I'll tell you what I expected.
All right.
What did I? Well, first of all, contrary to Michael, I did not find this on Paramount Plus. This found me. Paramount Plus was not shy about saying, hey, watch Halo. Watch Halo. Come on to Paramount Plus to watch Star Trek. And it's like, are you sure you wouldn't like to watch Halo first and then Star Trek Picard? And I'm like, I'm sure. But so yeah, I thought that their advertising there was very good and effective because I was very aware of the show. And I was aware of the game because gamers always freaking talk about it. Halo this, Halo. The other one is Grand Theft Auto. Those are the two I feel like I hear about constantly. So that either means that it's a very good game or that just everybody's weird. I don't know which one it is. But that's all I really expected, was that it was going to be based off a game and it was probably going to be sci-fi and guns related or something, but I really didn't know anything. That's what we expected. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, upon watching this first episode, what did you actually get, though?
I did play an older Grand Theft Auto and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and it was quite enjoyable, actually, when I was playing it. And I played it before I moved down to LA, and I was kind of like, oh, actually, there's some parts of LA that kind of remind me of this game. But that's a different game, and they haven't made a show about San Andreas or Grand Theft Auto yet.
Twisted Metal did that for me. Twisted Metal.
Yeah, Ryan loved Twisted Metal back in the day. I remember that. But what I got with this show was very cool tech. Everybody had really cool technology. The Halos, the aliens, the Halo base guys. Everybody had real cool technology. But more than that, like I thought that Tamia would be interested, I'm more interested in the other stuff, the aliens, the artifact. How come Master Chief can activate this artifact, but the aliens couldn't? And who's this human lady with the aliens? Is she related to Master Chief? Because she's the one that wanted that artifact. You know, there's all these kind of questions. And then what happened to Master Chief after he touched the artifact? He completely changed. I mean, so all that, I mean, the shooting didn't turn me off. And actually, all the action scenes I thought were quite exciting. And at the risk of being happy to prove Ryan wrong, I did really like this show.
Liar. Wow, no, that's cool. That's good to know. Good. Happy to be proven wrong there. Tamia, however, what did you actually get?
Okay,
Okay.
I actually let me think about that for a second. Now Michael was kind of spot on, but I was really interested in the characters, and I thought that the bit of world building that we got in the beginning to get to know this place, Madrigal, really quickly was really well done. And I love that I called it like kind of gritty tech. I love that sort of gritty sci-fi stuff. I mean, I'm a huge Star Trek fan, obviously, but I like my sci-fi pretty gritty, because we're just a bunch of humans on another rock, so we're probably not going to be the cleanest of people all the time. I was really intrigued by that. The characters, because I don't know anything about this universe, like, who is the crazy doctor lady? And then,
Right.
Oh, she's this other young lady's mother, and they just sort of dropped that in like that,
Yeah.
and then, oh, and her dad is like the general or whatever, it's just really interesting to me. And I wanted to know more about these characters, I wanted to know a little bit more about the society, that it that has these super soldiers like this, and that gives an order to execute a teenage girl, who sees a teenage girl as a threat. So, and the aliens were pretty interesting looking, you know. And then the moments that I liked, some of the production of the show that I thought was interesting, when they really took you to the video game, like you were in the video game for a hot second. A couple of those frames, those were really cool to me because they didn't overdo it. They just dropped you in, dropped you out. And I knew that was moments of like fan service for those fans. That
Sure.
I used to be a sales rep for a publishing company, and we sold these books. I never read them. Never. They were like, Tamia, you're the sci-fi chick, you should read these, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, it's a video game book, I'm not, no. But now I'll probably go back and read it. If the characterizations are anything on par as what I saw in this first episode, then the books might be worth reading.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I got.
All right.
I got 2 cups of Dune, half a cup of Star Wars, 3 tablespoons of Mad Max, some video game stuff, some parts that did make me kind of go like, ooh, when the legs got blown off. And I did rewind to watch again, yes, because I wanted to make sure that I got to the full enjoyment out of watching somebody's body parts get blown off. You want to see how well did they do it? It was real quick. So, if it's real quick, maybe it's not that well done. You got to check. And there were a couple other things that they did very quickly that I can't remember right now that I want to go back and just look, because I was like, why is it so short? Oh, it was the when they arrived at the headquarters. It was only a couple seconds, and I wanted to see more of like the outside from above shot of. I love that stuff, seeing how they imagined a city being built around a river or around a piece of technology, or what their buildings look like. I love those exterior shots of a new world, and they only gave us a couple seconds of that. I would have been happy with 15 seconds.
Yeah. How about the alien world too, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was fascinating.
So yeah, it was it was a really hard thing to juggle, what these guys were trying to do, which is bring in new fans, or were they just aiming it at fans of the pre-existing franchise?
Yep.
So I'm watching it from the point of view of a potential new fan. And I thought it was good, but I thought that they had a pretty tall task, because they're introducing a whole new universe to those of us that know nothing about it. So it was a tall task.
Whole new universe.
That's the one.
Nice. Yep.
So that's what I got. still kind of formulating whether I loved it or was just happy with it. I was fine with it. But what do you guys think? Now, Tamia, you mentioned the aliens, and this is where I need everybody else's help because I'm not good at paying attention to stuff that's boring. So I kind of
Nice.
after the first third, once a third of the way in, I think that's when they actually did their theme song, which wasn't great. I was like, oh, good, we get a theme song. Let's check it. Oh, it's over.
Yeah, exactly.
But after that, I was kind of like, okay, well, I'll get stuff done while I'm watching this a little bit more than the full effect. But so I may have missed this, but I love the way the aliens look too. But I thought that alien, that the human lady called Your Mercy or whatever, that old guy that had eyebrows all the way around like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was a different kind of alien than the bad guy aliens, because those bad guy aliens were like predator guys with different mouths. They looked very different.
They're like two different species.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if on that other planet, if there's like a caste system, you know,
or did it show that they're on the same side even fully?
Well, yeah, those were their
Well, he had the
soldiers.
guards like with him. Like, so I just thought that the other guys were like wearing helmets, and so that's why they look different to me. But
no, they're totally different alien.
Yeah, no, they're like different body builds, and that they did have the opening mouth thing, you know. Yeah, I mean, I think that I really am thinking that there's a specific, you know, strata in their society, and that they're
you
like
got the founders.
They're like the Dominion. I was just gonna say that's where I put my
they're
notes too.
like the Jem'Hadar. Yeah,
They're the Dominion.
exactly. Yeah, but you know, and Ryan, to go to your point, what you were saying, like, I didn't notice there wasn't that much in here that was brand new to me as a fan of science fiction, as a longtime reader of science fiction and watcher of science fiction and fantasy. But I think it was put together okay. But I was also thinking about your point about, you know, they do have a tall task, a tall order, because they've got to please the people who have built this franchise. And I know that this franchise has been worldwide huge for the longest time. You know, they've got to please those folks, and they've got to bring in new people. And I've heard some discussions from my partner and some other of my friends about like how successful they were in that or not.
Ooh, we want to hear about that. Yeah,
pleasing those fans.
To me, I thought it was clear. And I said your name right there. To me, I thought it was clear that
you see what he did there?
That they were trying to bring in a new
I wish
audience.
I were blind.
Because I feel like if they were just trying to appease the gamers, then they wouldn't have put in nearly as much budget or as much advertising, and it wouldn't be such a big push as like a secondary show on a platform like Paramount Plus. So it did feel like they are trying to bring in the new fans with that kind of budget and that kind of advertising. And so that's where it gets really tough. It's tough. You can always tell when somebody's doing something that has a pre-existing franchise, because they're usually very patient. They're like, oh, we don't have to show you everything because these guys are already fans. They're going to stick around. But this one didn't really do that. This one did well of just, I thought they did well. They introduced the characters well. They introduced the story well. When the episode ended, I felt very satisfied that I know what this show is about. I know who the main characters are. I know what their motivations are. I know what everybody's motivation is, basically. Even, you know, Dr. Girardi, the lady that
Halsey,
the lady that helped.
Halsey Girardi.
All of them. I got all of their points of view. And there are no real good guys or real bad guys. Everything is shades of gray. They're all just trying to get through in what their job is or what their life is and their motivation. So I thought every single character had a very clear motivation, and I know what the story was about. So I think that as far as what they were trying to do on a baseline level, it's a good pilot all around, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I just looked, and it looks like the first Halo game came out on Xbox in 2001.
What?
Mhm.
That
Took
means
them
that
21
Yeah.
years to.
it's
Yeah,
now
so
old
this
enough
is a
to legally
saga.
drink alcohol.
Yeah, these fans have been trying, and I think apparently there's several times they've been supposed to have been getting live action Halo.
Okay, so
And
Tamia, you've got boots on the ground.
this-
You've got boots on the ground. Can you tell us if the Halo fans were happy with this?
Speaking
I
of boots
don't
on
know.
the ground,
Oh.
I'm also interested to know if that boot noise is in the game.
I think it is.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah,
That's cool.
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I think, well, okay, so from what I can understand, there's a rift, like there's a split, like
Okay,
some of
I
the
don't
fans-
believe
I'll tell you
our
why.
society is not one that gets split on
I
similar
know,
topics.
I know. It's really shocking. It's shocking to me. Our fandom is totally different and never split.
Yeah.
Okay, so the moment when Master Chief takes off his helmet,
The Mandalorian
That
guy.
is- that's the big deal, because like the Mandalorian, like in the game, you never see Master Chief's face.
Mhm.
I
ever.
see.
And everybody has always wondered, who is Master Chief? What does Master Chief look like? And I mean, this is according to my boots on the ground,
Your intel.
you know.
Yeah.
And so if you were going to do a huge reveal, it's a big part of the game. Apparently, like it's rooted in the whole culture of the game that you never see Master Chief's face. So it kind of sucks that you see it right away in the first episode. Like they're not making you wait for it. Like it's a
What
and
about
I
the
felt
other
that even as a
Spartans?
Mad fan.
Sorry, what
I
about
don't
the
know
other
about-
Spartans? Do we see their faces?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Maybe those are the ones that you're playing as. I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Or do you
so
play as
maybe
Master
so.
Chief? Who knows?
So I think that was from what I have heard, that is part of the controversy and one of the biggest complaints. I would be happy to stand corrected if you all know out there better than I do.
Put it in the live
Put
chat
it
or
in
put
the
it in the
comments.
comments below.
Put it in the
Yeah.
comments below.
So that's interesting. That's one of those things where, like, to us means nothing. Although I did suspect because most of the first episode went by and we don't see any of their faces, we get nothing. So I did suspect towards the end, I was like, I wonder if it's like the Mandalorian where they never take off their helmet. And at the end, he takes off his helmet. I was like, oh, I guess I was wrong. But apparently that's what it is. And so all the franchise fans might be a little annoyed by that.
But I would guess that it's not like a way. This is the way. Like you can't take off your helmet. I think it's just mostly like you're in the game, you're playing, you're in the action. But I don't know if there's like cut scenes or anything like that where like they explain more and like they have some dialogue. But who knows? If you know, let me know, because I'm dying to know. Dying.
Yeah, to know. Me too.
How many Halo games have there been, Michael? If you've got that pulled up there.
Why are you asking me all these questions? I don't know, Ryan.
Well, no, I was asking Mike because he's got it already kind of pulled up somewhat.
No, that was just in the description from Paramount Plus.
Oh, okay. Well, everybody in the live chat, please
16.
let us know. What? Give me up.
16 Halo games.
Where do they find the time?
Eight are considered to be part of the main storyline. The other games are various spin-offs or adaptations that may not be part of the canon.
Oh, there's that big C word.
Yeah, we don't want to get Star Trek fans stuck on.
Yeah, we don't want to say any
C-word.
C words.
Clearly. Well, okay. So then let's get into something else. This is where we really start to squabble, Tamia. So hang on to your hats. Michael,
not time for the bottom line yet.
No, Mike, this is the big squabble of all. Michael, who's your favorite character so far in this series?
Favcac.
Here it comes.
This is a segment that Ryan loves me to call Favcac, favorite character. And so if I had to choose a favorite character, I mean, You mean besides Master Chief? Because Master Chief is like the dude in this one. I mean, there's the little girl. I guess she's like a teenager, and she seems pretty strong. But we really have only seen her cowering. Where Master Chief, you get to learn a little bit more about him. Dr. Halsey, I don't really care about. I mean, I guess maybe you're supposed to care a little bit about her, but the general guy seems pretty cool. The president lady seems pretty cool. But as far as like who I've gotten to know in this first episode, it's really Master Chief. So.
Interesting. Tamia, this is it. Who's your favorite character so far?
My favorite character and the character that had the most impact on me are two different things. So, Master Chief was my favorite character in this episode, just like you said, Michael, because we get to know Master Chief, But Quan can run now. That girl could run. They had that child running all over the place. I was like, okay, girl, I don't know. She's like, I gotta go help. And I was like, girl, what you think you're gonna do?
Yeah.
And then all we saw was her running all over the place. And I was like, okay, that I don't even understand the point. That was just so she didn't die with the other kids. Okay, fine.
Probably, yeah.
But the character that made me be like, wow, was the president lady, like badass boss lady. Like, because she came really hardcore at Dr. Halsey. And I was like, dang, she laid that down.
Admiral Perengoski. I think her name was Admiral Perengoski.
Huh.
Yeah.
She was ruthless too.
Yeah, she was too. I was just like, ooh.
She looks familiar too. Isn't she like in some kind of sci-fi series? I'm sure she's like, what's the one that everybody loves with the Mars versus Earth versus the asteroids?
She's not in the Expanse, which I'm repping.
She was in 24.
Oh, you were actually repping the Expanse. That's cool.
I am repping the Expanse.
I've only seen the first episode of that, surprisingly. Michael, have you seen more than the first episode?
I have not.
Well, you need to continue on with that show. I'm just saying.
That's what we've heard about every show practically.
Yeah.
Because it's true. Duh.
Well, I'll tell you my favorite character. I've been trying to stall because I don't really have one.
Fafcac.
I think my favorite character is more like the character that I'm most interested in, in which I'm most interested. And that is the three remaining Spartans and that crew, because we know their names. And we know their voices, and we know a little bit about their personality, and we know kind of their mission, and we know that, I mean, that's very interesting what's going to happen, because you've got that crew trying to find that 2-person crew and going against the orders of everything, but going with the orders of, Agnes Girardi. And so I'm most interested in them. I feel like they are the wild card, and within them, there are 3 of them. So that's 3 different personalities. So they can have conflicting ideas. So I would have to just say those 3, that's what I want to know more about. And that's who I'm interested in.
So if we're talking about who we thought the most interesting character was.
Well, that's just my favorite character right now.
Well, your favorite, okay, but you said most interesting. So the most
which is what's making it in, my favorite character right now. But I get you. Who's the most interesting to you,
stop
Michael?
Squabbling, boys. Stop squabbling.
We'll never stop. We'll never stop. I'm gonna guess who you think is the most interesting. The daughter of the captain and Agnes Girardi.
No.
Damn, because I thought she was really interesting.
She is interesting, but I thought the most interesting character
was let me guess.
The alien speaking lady. I think she was bald or something, like the lady
the human lady on the
human lady with the aliens. And they had a cool ass language too.
They did
language.
Right? Yeah, they were heavy on the K's. They would hit those K's.
They were
pretty badass, I gotta say.
What was the guy's name? Mercy.
Mercy, yeah, that's his title, I think.
Yeah, for now, that's all we know about him.
Yeah, I wonder if they've actually developed that language for real.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
I
sure they
bet.
did.
because it sounds like they have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No,
They
and
did a
I
great
thought,
job with that.
yeah, I agree. I really thought that was great, and I thought that the Grandpa Alien looked really cool too.
Yeah.
By the way, I think you guys mentioned that Dad was a general. I think they called him a captain. Just
A captain.
Whatever.
technical.
Thanks for correcting me.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, at first I was like, is this guy an admiral or something? And then later on, they're like, captain. I was like, oop, go delete, fix that. So I get it right. Because I
Okay,
don't
I
want
want to
people
ask you guys a
yelling.
question.
All right. I want to answer it.
Okay, so you saw the intro, and like, what's up with this trend of like the coalescing images on all the, like, if you're a sci-fi show, you're all of a sudden your images have to appear out of little atoms or motes and dots of stuff and coalesce into a thing. It's like it's everywhere. It's like every single opening, like nobody, now they all start to look the same. Because I remember when I first saw with the Marvel stuff, like Luke Cage and stuff, they were doing, I was like, oh, that's so dope, right? Because nobody was really doing that then, I mean,
and then the other shows are like, oh, that's so dope. Can we do that? Right. Yes, we can. Do it.
WTF, Luke Cage, by the way, everybody.
Oh, yeah, for real, though. So, like, I mean, I was just wondering if you guys had a thing about it, because when I saw it on this intro, it just made me tired. I was like, oh, I don't even need to watch this. Like, I don't even want to see it anymore. And then coupled with the mediocre music that I just checked out on that I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't either. Actually, I think Discovery did that. Was it in the first episode of season 4 where they were, or maybe it was towards the end of season 3 where they were showing the replicator making food, but at first you just see like this atomization and it kind of, as you say, coalesces into food. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing that everywhere right now, and the answer is I don't know. What do you think, Mike? What is the deal with that? Why is everybody doing it? Is it just because they're jumping on the train?
So like I said, that this show is based on a true story from the future, and so it was brought back in a time machine, the idea. But what I've been told by the time machine people, the time travelers, if you will, is that trend will be going away, not super soon, but in the next maybe 5 years, it'll be gone. So we don't have to worry too much about it.
Man.
That is too long. This is, I can't.
We're going to watch a sitcom and like the sitcom's going to, like the characters are going to come together and that's not. There's gonna be like a Three's Company reboot.
That's the next evolution, because first it's like the drama and then the satire of it. So it'll be that, but it'll be a satire of it. So
they're gonna redo the Golden Girls, and then they're all gonna mesh together. They're gonna have like one big mouth, and that's gonna be Blanche, and it's gonna.
I think the Golden Girls could be remade, but I think it'll be impossible to recapture that magic. But same thing with like Seinfeld. The show really wasn't even about anything. It was just that the characters were good. So, but for example, a show like Cheers can be remade because it was about everybody goes to this bar and the hijinks that ensues, But anyway.
Well, that had magic too, though.
They could remake the Golden Girls with holograms. You can have a hologram of B. Arthur. Now that Betty White has passed, you can have a hologram of Betty White. You can just have holograms, which they do these days, and you can use dialogue from the original show and cut this word out and make a whole new sentence. And
that sounds
they
terrible.
Can do
that. So
you got that
right, the Olden Girls. But WTF Cheers, everybody at home, if you'd like us to review Cheers, in the comments below, say WTF Cheers. All I remember from that first episode is Sam Malone. I remember the lighting was terrible. And I remember when I watched it, I was like, this looks dumb, because I'd already seen the show and I liked it. And then you go back and watch the first episode and you're like, this looks cheap. But WTF, maybe I'm wrong. We'll see.
I also hated it when I kind of went back to rewatch the first episode.
But maybe it's a great pilot.
We're looking for a new show. So what's a show we could watch at night before we're falling asleep? Oh, let's try Cheers.
Wait, you watched it recently?
Like a couple years ago or something like that.
Oh man. Well, it's still WTF Cheers, because then now I know what I'm going to say when I say what I expect. I'll be like, well, Mike was saying it was terrible, so that's
You're
what
not
I
going to
expect.
remember that anyway. I know you.
That's
So,
true.
okay.
That's true.
Did
Back
you
to
guys ever
Halo.
do Living Single yet?
Yes,
We did.
Okay.
Mhm.
I
Just
missed it.
recently. Yeah.
Okay,
and
my
we did
bad.
it for you because you were the one that suggested it, if I remember
Mhm.
correctly.
Why you should have given me a heads up, man. So
We did in the recording. We're like, and this is for Tamia Harper of the Syfy Sistas.
Yeah.
That's
I can tell you exactly when it was. It was episode number 98, which aired just a couple months ago, 3 months ago, February 9th. Check it out. Living Single on Hulu. We reviewed it with our good friend Darnell Davis. And we gave it final scores of.
Wait, you have to watch. You have to watch, Ryan.
Okay. Oh man.
Go check that out. WTF number 98, Living Single. You will love it.
Cannot
like
wait. As soon as we're done, that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit more about this show. What was your favorite aspect? What did you love the most, and what did you like the least, Michael?
I loved the most. Man, that alien language was so cool. But I think the thing I loved the most was the artifact, and just like what is it, and like what's happening when Master Chief touches it. How, like, all these questions in my mind had that are like thinking about things and not having answers to them. And then also it's like wondering if any of this is in the game. So it's just, I guess my favorite part was just all the questions that they raised, which is great for storytelling.
Did you have a least favorite? Yeah.
My least favorite part is that. So it's like my least favorite part is that the UNSC they're kind of dicks. I mean, that's not like,
you need conflict, right?
No, I was gonna say in a show that's not bad. But it was kind of made me sad for the characters on the show. Like, oh, these UNSC guys are dicks. Poor characters.
It sounds like a college.
Oh.
Tamia, did you have a favorite and least favorite aspect of this show?
I was just sitting here trying to think while you guys were talking. I don't know if I had a.
I tried to buy you some time. I can buy you some more. So I also didn't like. No, I don't a lot about the show.
I don't know. I really think that one of my favorite things about the show was in the beginning, in the whole opening sequence. I loved the textures, and I could almost smell that place. It was so real, and I loved the costumes. I thought the costumes were great because they had this sort of feudal Japanese take, going on. With the first part of the show, I was just so immersed in it. My least favorite thing about it was that it was just the story, the part with the UN, what are they, UNSC?
UNSC is what they called them.
Yeah. When they're given on that base, with the UNSC and Dr. Girardi's lab and whatnot.
Glad that's taken on.
Yeah, it's a thing now. I was kind of a little bit bored with it because it was a little predictable, I just knew what was coming. So it was cool in the sense that it was comfortable. Like, this is, I'm trotting familiar ground here. I know what's going to happen in this story at this moment. Oh, no, you know what my true favorite thing was, though?
Ooh.
Oh, I forgot. The part where Master Chief, so the captain, not the general, the captain says, you know what, guys, take the ship down, bring it down. And it goes boom, you're like, oh, because it was like right before that, they had been successful and they're like, we're going up, yay. And everybody's cheering, right? For Master Chief and Quan, like, yay, they're going to get away, psych. Like, it was like up for like 1 second and it was just like, oh, take it down. It's like bam, slap him down. So that was kind of my favorite part, actually. But yeah, I got a little bored with I knew it had to take some type of route, but I don't know. I was kind of zoning out at that point.
Well,
How
I can buy
dare you.
Ryan. I can buy Ryan a little more time to think, because I know that he needs it. He looks like
I don't
save me,
need it.
Mike.
I can wing it. I can wing it.
But I actually did think about
Oh.
what my real least favorite part of the show was.
Perfect.
And I think that is the fact that I forget her name, but the girl who is talking to Quan, that she's the daughter of the general and Dr. Halsey.
Miranda.
Yeah. So yeah, Miranda. Yeah. I didn't really like that she was their daughter, because immediately my mind went to them smushing.
I love that part.
I wasn't upset with that.
You know, my least favorite part, I was going to say, was very similar to that, but not about the smasheroo, but more that the way they delivered it, which was first they say Dr. Halsey and Captain McGee and all this stuff. And then later on in that, I think the same scene, he's like, well,
Right.
It is your mother. And I was just like, okay, I get why they did that. They did that for the shock value. I understand why they did it. And, you know, the importance of doing that, that kind of reveal to surprise us. But it seemed forced. I don't know if there's a better way to do it, or if it seems forced to just cut it out and say, okay, well, we're not going to get that reveal moment. But one of those two things had to happen. Either they needed to workshop it and deliver it in a better way, or they need to say, okay, never mind the shock value. Let's just take it out because it feels forced. But that to me,
that shit out of there.
That to me was like, I like the dynamic personally, but I don't, it just wasn't delivered well to me. What did I like the best? I think the world building, just a new world to explore, because it's going to make us all curious. We have the Dominion, you know, we have this alien, the Vorta, the founders. We got all these things, right? And non-Star Trek fans are like, what did you watch? That's not what they are at all. Right? That's not what they're called. Why are you making?
They're called the Covenant, Ryan, obviously.
Yeah, the Covenant, and there were other things, other words thrown out at us. Oh, very good. I put somewhere in my notes. What was that? Oh, you know, actually, this was my favorite part. Good. Was when Dr. Girardi, blonde Catherine Halsey, says to the three, ballsy Halsey, everybody, she's a toughie. She talks to the three remaining Spartans. I love that they were called Spartans. I thought that was cool. And she explains, you know, you got to protect these guys. And then the one dude says, he says, okay, cool. And then the lady, I think her name is, I forgot.
She's one of the ladies. Doesn't matter. Yeah,
the lady, whatever.
Spartan.
Kai. I think her name is Kai. Yeah.
See, they even have a Kai.
Yeah, right. So Kai says, you know, engage the friendlies. Like, she's like, just making sure, engage the friendlies. And the dude, Riz, I believe his name is, says, if they engage Master Chief, they are not friendlies. Correct, Doctor? And Doctor kind of smiles. She's like, he gets it. She says, correct. And I was like, that is an A+ moment for me. That was the one big A+ moment for me. It was beautifully delivered and written. And I thought that almost made the show for me, honestly. When I saw that, I was like, I love it. That's very good.
Can I go again?
Well, I'm sorry, Tamia, but it's actually time to talk about you as a person now. We've talked enough about Halo. People are like, yeah, but what about Tamia? But save it. Maybe that point you can make is going to be at the bottom line right now.
Maybe so.
So Tamia, you're part of the Syfy Sistas. What can you tell us about them?
I am a part of the Syfy Sistas. We are 4 Black women who love science fiction and fantasy, and we especially love Star Trek. I mean, it's our main thing, but we talk about lots of other things. And we have a podcast that we do that's dropped bi-weekly. We're in season 2 right now. And we also have a couple of groups on Facebook So we do a book club, a bi-monthly book club, because we're all busy and who's got time to be in a monthly book club?
Yeah.
So we give you 2 months to read the book. And
maybe if it's a short book, then
even if it's a short
A
book, the one we
pamphlet
just
club.
read is like this thin right now. Like, I mean, it's a super duper thin book. And you got 2 months to read it, kids. But so we do the book club, and we also have a group on Facebook called the Mothership, spelled like kind of like George Clinton would spell it.
Same way
it's
Sistas is spelled.
Same way Sistas is spelled, MUTHASHIP, the Mothership. And so that's our community spot that we wanted to create, because we were formed by not having a welcoming community in our own fandom. So that when we like to bring you our point of view, right? And we want to talk about science fiction and fantasy through our lens as experience and our experiences as Black women. And apparently that a lot of people just don't like that. And it gets on their nerves that we bring all this reality and stuff up into our fandom. So we said, screw you guys, we're going to make our own place. And we did. And that's the Mothership. And everybody is on the Mothership. We have all sorts of people from all sorts of fandoms and all different walks of life who just really want a positive, healthy place to geek out together. And that's what we do. And then, of course, we drop our podcast every couple of weeks.
Now,
but where do you drop it? Where can people if they wanted to listen to, let's say somebody's watching this or listening to this and they're like, oh man, I would love to listen to that podcast.
This is where Tamia leans over to the side a tiny bit and says it right there, because we can only see no other direction. Right there it is.
There. So you can go anywhere podcasts are played, Spotify, Apple. We even have a YouTube channel, and of course our website and the Trek Geeks website. Excuse me. Nice,
Trek Geeks.
Sorry.
That's okay. We love Trek Geeks, and you are one of their main squeezes.
We are. We are part of the Trek Geeks podcast network. So you can go to sci-fi-sistas.com or trekgeeks.com, and you can hear all of our stuff for free, or anywhere else you download your podcasts. And we ask that please, please, please give us a like, rate us, subscribe, put comments in.
And when she says raid, she means RATE, you guys. Don't go stealing their stuff. They're like, here we come. We're pillaging the Sci-Fi Sistas.
Please don't. You have to go a couple of different places in the United States to make that happen. So
yeah. So everybody check out the Syfy Sistas. There was one other thing that you mentioned in there that kind of piqued my interest, and maybe Michael's too, but you said second season. You mean podcasts can have seasons? We just thought you just keep going forever, nonstop.
Keep going.
What's the season about?
We're allowed to have seasons on podcasts. So we found that out of necessity. Exactly. We all got really, really busy and could not record anymore. And we're like, hey, let's have a season. We've seen it happen on other shows, and it's really
season one. Yeah.
And so we had the end of season 1, and then we opened up season 2 with Nana Visitor, with the interview with Nana Visitor.
Wow.
Which was really exciting, because she was amazing and so gracious and lovely. And as we were all trying to not fangirl too hard, but of course we were.
So everybody at home, Nana Visitor is a Star Trek actor. All three of us like Star Trek a lot. That's kind of, how we found out about the Syfy Sistas and all that kind of stuff. So sorry, this podcast is Star Trek heavy, but remember, Star Trek's Paramount as well. So it's all relevant. It's all family here. Family. Speaking of which, speaking of doing this, there's a hand gesture Michael's about to do to signify it's the karate chop. That is now time for the bottom line, everybody.
Bottom line, underscoring the bottom line with my hand chop karate face.
Do you guys have a bottom line theme song?
Yeah. It goes a little something like this. Hit it, Mike.
Bottom line, the bottom line.
That's Spider-Man.
Bottom line.
Okay.
No, I didn't do the third one. I just did bottom line again.
Bottom line, bottom line. does whatever a
Bottom line.
Bottom line
Okay.
does.
It's the terrible twos. It's the final two
I'll come
questions.
up with a better theme song, though. That's a good point, though. I appreciate that.
It's the final two
I'm here to
questions
help.
of the show. Michael's going to come up with the theme song for the terrible twos. Here it comes. Fast
Bottom
and
line.
Furious. Question number 1 is Michael
The
Canon
bottom
Rosen.
line is not called the terrible twos. The bottom line, not terrible twos. Okay, my first question, Ryan, you go. Shoot, let me know what it is.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this first episode of Halo?
Wow. I'm just stalling it for dramatic effect, but I would give this a 9. A 9 out of 10. I really liked it. I was engaged the entire time. I thought the action scenes were intense and exciting. And I thought that the mythology stuff was cool. The world building was cool. The alien language was cool. I was very impressed with this. And I couldn't help but think, like, man, if the game is anything like this show, I might have to go buy an Xbox and start playing, but I just don't have time for that. If I was going to buy a game system for a game, I'd go buy a Nintendo Switch for Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda. So
You're talking Greek to me right now.
Gamers know what I'm talking about.
Yes, they do.
Tamia, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this? And by the way, I was very wrong about you, Michael. What would you give this episode, Tamia?
I was really wrong. I'd give it about an 8. I also really enjoyed it. But like looking at the shot, one of the shots right behind Michael, like it has that tone. There was one of the things that I forgot to mention before that I really liked was that sort of golden metallic tone.
The face shield. Yeah.
But not just the face shield, but overall, especially in Madrigal, the outside shots. I mean, it was like, I don't know what filter they were using, but it was really cool. But anyway, that was just another one of my favorite things about it. I really liked the show. I think that the characters are really intriguing, and I think that they introduced everybody really well. And that there were really no dead spots, even though I checked out a little bit in the middle with the, on the base, but that's just me. It didn't slow down. Everything propelled into the next thing. So, it was a solid 8 for sure. I think the only reason it's an 8 and not higher for me is the fact that a lot of the story, I felt like I knew. It surprised me sometimes, but I still knew the arc. I still felt like I could predict a little bit more. So that's it. 8.
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I liked, like I said, that all the characters had very clear motivations and that we all understood their points of view. You never want something that's like a one-dimensional good guy or one-dimensional bad guy. Even the people that do good things can have bad aspects, and even people that do bad things from our points of view have good aspects. So I like that every character, you could put yourself in their shoes relatively easily. So that's well thought out, and I appreciate that.
The Spartans have some pretty heavy shoes, it sounds like.
Yeah. And, I like the world building. I guess maybe they didn't build the world. They built it over the last 20 years already.
Yeah.
But they explained it all well. You kind of start off small scale, and then you add elements and you add a few characters at a time. So I find no fault with this pilot. I think that overall it's a very solid pilot that was probably workshopped a lot of times and very expertly done. Me personally, I think Tamia touched on it. It did remind me of a lot of things. Like I was like, oh, I'm watching Dune. Oh, now I'm watching Star Wars. Oh, now but it's hard not to do that with sci-fi. The more sci-fi you watch, the more stuff's going to remind you of stuff. So overall, I'm giving it a 7.5. Maybe as far as pilots go, it might be higher than that. But as far as me, it's like 7.5. No real major changes I would suggest or poop on them about. So, they should be very happy with this first one. However, question number 2 is for the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of Halo entitled Contact. But now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, would you watch the second episode of your own volition?
I would. I don't know that I will, because I'm a very, very busy person, and there's many, many TV shows that my wife and I are currently in the throes of watching, and it's tough for me to watch TV on my own. Like I'm behind on some Star Trek shows right now, so no spoiler.
See, Agnes Girardi is a scientist character.
No, I know that. I've seen season 1 of Picard, and I've seen the first episode of season 2, but I'm behind on every other season, every other episode on that. So, but yeah, I was very excited by this first. I'm maybe not excited by it coming out, but I was very excited during this first episode. It was very, I wouldn't say thrilling, not thrilling,
but nice.
But good, but nice. It was nice. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was kept my attention the whole time. I never looked away except to write my notes down. And even then I was like, oh, I got to watch while I'm writing my notes at the same time. Because I don't like to pause things. I know Ryan likes to pause to take his notes
and rewind.
But I don't like to break up the flow. I want to watch things as they're intended to flow.
But see, then I can't get all my notes out. Then I'm missing stuff. So I have to pause, and I get angry when I do. I'm like, oh, I don't want to pause this, but I have to get my notes out.
So what I do is I watch it the night before we record so I can remember what I watched.
Oh yeah, I watch it the day of, but I still don't remember. I got to know people's names. I specifically want to get down people's names and then the beats of
That's why
the
he
episode.
keeps calling her Dr. Girardi.
Her name is Catherine Halsey. See, I know
Well,
this because I wrote it down.
That's why I have IMDb up on this other screen while we're recording.
So, and by the way, we made a reference to History of the World Part 1 when they bring in the bathtub or whatever it was, and then Julius Caesar goes, nice, not thrilling, but nice. I think it was like Dom DeLuise. Anyway, Tamia Harper.
Wait, by the way, they're making a series of History of the World.
No way.
WTF History of the World, yeah.
Yes, WTF History of the World Part 2, I guess. Tamia, would you watch the second episode of your own volition?
I would. I totally would. And I probably will once we get off because, I'm free. So.
Oh, you don't charge?
No charge. Oh, no, not that way.
Stop to watch the show. You don't charge to watch. You watch it for free.
I would totally watch it. They've got me hooked. So I really want to know more about this world. And I want to know why, out of all the video games, in all the universes, does this one have such a huge following? Like, because they really spent a lot of time developing this. And now I'm kind of like, oh, wow. And I'm happy that they brought it to those of us who are not gamers. I'm always down for another good story, right? So, like add it to my pantheon.
Right. All right. Well, I'm very on the fence. I'm very close, but it's a no from me because the bottom line is...
Because you're a curmudgeon, obviously.
Well, the bottom line is I'm not compelled to watch the next episode. I'm fine. If somebody told me the story about it, I would listen, but I'm not, there's no part of me that says I got to find out what happens next. I'm perfectly fine.
Well, you just said you would listen if somebody told you. So
right. It reminds me of Star Wars: The Bad Batch. Remember The Bad Batch? It was very similar. There was like a girl, and then there was the guys, the Mandalorians. Well, this is very similar with that. But anyway, and I haven't watched the second episode of that either.
They were clones.
Yeah, whatever. So very close, and they deserve people to have people watch the second episode. For me personally, not really interested in watching the second episode, but they should be happy. It wasn't that funny. I've said funnier.
Yes, it was.
No, I mean, it's just you're just the funniest guy that you You're
They
like,
should
oh,
be
this show- yeah, it
happy
was a
with
good
their
show, it was a
final
good show.
product. They should
I
be
mean,
happy with
I
their
wouldn't
final
watch.
product.
I mean, I would watch it. I probably won't because of like time constraints, but I would. But you're like,
Right. I wouldn't.
Well, you know why?
I just don't personally have the interest to watch in the second episode. But I think they should be happy with their final product because they did a great job. And I would recommend that other people, especially sci-fi fans, watch it themselves. So what I'm trying to say is that
I want to hear what Tamia's gonna say.
Well, no, now it's gone. Now the moment's gone. Yeah,
Dang
forget
it.
about it. Yeah. Thanks,
gotta
Ryan.
wait a
Whatever.
lifetime for a moment like this. So what I'm trying to say is this podcast was contentious.
This podcast had purple in it. Tamia's background, my tie, Ryan's drink.
Yeah, my purple drink.
See, this
Me.
podcast was a lot of fun.
You're just saying that because
That's the
it's
right
true.
answer. That's the right answer. Yeah.
Everybody at home, in the comments below, tell us what you thought of Halo, or if you're going to watch it or not watch it, and especially make your suggestions as to what you'd like us to see. Let us know. And do you play the Halo video game? What do you think of that? Tell us all about it. Boy, we can't wait to hear it. And remember what Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg always likes to say.
I love to say to not forget to register to being an organ donor at donatelife.org. I don't remember the website. I should really look that up one day, but don't forget to register to be an organ donor because you're not going to use your organs after you're not using them. So, but then I also like to say to don't forget to watch the first of things, the end.
It's donatelife.net. Just looked it up. The Contractor, starring our buddy Chris Pine, is now in theaters and available on digital and on demand.
When a discharged elite special forces sergeant is desperate to provide for his family, he contracts with a private military force and unravels a deep conspiracy, sending him on the run for his life.
Wow. Buy or rent The Contractor and watch it today. It's rated R from Paramount Pictures.